Hey, Landon. All right. So I know you were asking about number one on there. There's only four of these problems, so you're not going to have too much, honestly, to practice there. Uh, I'll probably give you the setup for how to factor it, but I'll work out another example here as far as how you do the difference of cubes and how you would actually solve the equation. But so it starts with you want to rewrite each of these as some number to the third power. All right. So you want some number to the third power minus some number to the third power. So for an 8, that's going to be a 2. All right. So notice 2 to the third power gives you 8, and x to the third power gives you x cubed. And then 1, for that, it would just be 1 to the third power. All right. That's still equal to 1. So this 2x right here, that's going to be like my a term when it comes to writing this formula. And the 1 is going to be like my b term. All right. So for the example that you're talking about on number 1, it's going to be really similar, except the a term is just an x and the b term is just a 1. But we have to write out that. What we have to do is take this and write out the right half. Actually, I'm going to do this, equals 0 still. I'm going to write it vertically here. So we have something to the third power minus something to the third power, all right? Just like that. So it's going to factor into the same two things, but without the third power part. So it's going to be 2x minus 1. Okay, so I'm just taking what's there without the third power. And then in parentheses next, it's going to be a squared, which is going to be this number times itself. So 2x times 2x, that's 4x squared, plus, and then it's a times b, 2x times 1, it's 2x. And then the last one is b squared, which is just 1 times 1. All right, all of this is still equal to 0. And then to solve these for x, you're going to take each of these factors and set them equal to 0. So 2x minus 1 equals 0. You plus 1 on both sides, and then divide by 2. So one of your solutions is x equals 1/2. All right. To set this one equal to 0, I mean, you can go ahead and set it equal to 0 if you want to, but to actually solve it, you're going to have to use the quadratic formula on it. All right. So we'll take, this will be like my A, my B, and my C. And I believe for yours, yours is going to be, I'll give you the factored form in a little bit. All right. So we'll plug it into the quadratic formula. So negative b, that's negative 2, plus or minus the square root of b squared. So that was 2 squared, gives me 4, minus 4ac. All right, a is equal to 4 there, and c is equal to 1 there, all over 2 times a. Okay. All right, so using the quadratic formula, that's going to solve this thing for x, is what it's going to do. But I have to work these out kind of by hand, unfortunately. All right, so negative 2 plus or minus. On the inside of the square root, I'm going to get 4 times 4 is 16, and then 4 minus 16. That's negative 12. You'll always get a negative in these types. All right, when you're doing the difference of cubes, you'll always come up with something negative there because the answers are going to be complex numbers each time. All right, and then we're going to take that negative and we're going to take it out of the square root as an imaginary number. So it's negative 2 plus or minus, you're going to take the negative out as an I, and then root 12 over 8. All right, so there's one answer, and then this is going to be 2, 3 answers here because you have the plus and minus version there. So as far as factoring your x cubed minus 1, all right, just the factoring portion of this, all right, you've got x raised to the third power and a 1 raised to a third power. So this is your a and your b. It's just going to be x minus 1. All right, this is like your a minus b. And then the rest of it's going to be, just the right half of this formula here, the a squared plus ab, all that bit. So a squared is going to be x squared plus 1x, so 1 times x, and then plus 1. And of course, this was all equal to 0. So the part that's a little weird is when you go to put it in the quadratic formula, this part, when you put it in the quadratic formula, your a, b, and c are all 1s. This is a 1x squared, a 1x, and a 1. So it's going to look a little funny when you throw it all into the quadratic formula. All right. Let me know if you need anything else, Landon. There's not very many of these examples I can point towards without getting really big numbers anyway. But I left the small ones for y'all. Anyway, let me know if you need help, though.